The drywall finishers are taking longer than we expected, but everybody I know who knows anything about it tells me to just let them alone, let them work, so they do a good job. While they're in there working, I decided we should work on the outside of the house and see if we can finish the siding and get ready for winter.
Setup for this stuff always takes too long, but if you don't do the setup and the preparation, you're not going to have a good result. But one of the things we have to do right now is we've got to pull the cable back inside the house for the Starling, but there's a special tool that straightens the cable out so that you can pull it through a hole. Unfortunately, I took that home. That's in my basement. So I've got to come up with a quick way to do it, and I've got a roll of tape. So my wife also brought me a roll of tape. So hold the ladder, baby. I don't want to fall down. I'm too old, I don't bounce anymore. I think what I can do is just wrap it with this blue tape. It goes in from underneath and sticks out like that. And they've got a little tool, a little plastic sleeve that goes on it that holds it flat so you can get it through a hole. I think I can just tape it and it'll be able to go back. If I pull it, it'll come back through that hole. I think that'll work. We'll find out in a minute.
It's gonna work? Darn it, it's too fat.
This Tyvek has had some weather exposure for quite some time. We decided to cover it up, and I'm not sure if we were supposed to tear the other down first, but I'm sure everybody who's in the comments will let me know. I keep thinking that we've hit peak color with the leaves, but every day that I get a chance to be out here, it just seems like it's getting prettier. If you have to be forced to work outside instead of inside, it sure is nice to do it on a day like today.
In the middle.
Okay.
And you want to push it all the way to the wall.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
Once you break it.
You gotta pull it tight.
Okay, there's string. There.
So while Jafan is trying to put a coat of paint on this siding, we have done most of the house. The only thing we've got left is do we still have any on the inside courtyard?
For what? Putting up?
The upper part.
No, I think we did all that, babe.
I'll have to check. But
you get used to.
Yeah, it's funny. You get used to a lot of things. We've gotten used to Tyvek. Tyvek's the fancy part of what we got used to. We got used to the OSB on the inside of the house for a couple of years.
Oh my God.
We did the whole house with a Makita cement shear tool, and I like it a lot. It's slower, vastly slower than a blade. Blade's much faster, but it's also much cleaner, easier to use for me, I think. But it needs new blades. I've ordered the blades, they're back ordered. I keep getting told that they're gonna be here and they're not here. And we're worried that we're not gonna have too many more days like today where it's warm enough and it's dry. Because it's gotta be warm enough that we can paint. And it's gotta be dry enough that we can safely work out here. So we figured we would just go ahead and bite the bullet, get a blade that's made for this stuff, and get the work done. So we're trying to knock this out this weekend. I've got 3 days to work. She's got 2. We have one 1-foot wide piece of siding up on the wall, and I popped out of bed early this morning just as the sun came up and started running around getting all the tools and everything together. So not exactly setting it on fire today. We're gonna have to really show something tomorrow in order for this to happen. So
Fire.
yeah, a little bit of fire. So that's how it is. And that's why we're using a different tool to cut it this time. I would prefer to use the Makita. I just don't have the blades, and the blades that are on there are worn out so much that it gets really frustrating trying to make the cuts, and the cuts aren't clean anymore. We also discovered as we were setting things up that we have 1 coil of nails for the siding. So we're gonna go to the store tonight, pick up a few things. All right, just give it a few minutes to dry. Well, last night when we painted that piece, the temperature started to drop. The sun was already down behind the mountain, and it wouldn't dry fast enough. So we decided to put all the tools away, leave it to dry overnight, come back and put it up in the morning. Well, we're here, it's morning. It never dried. Dew formed on it because of the temperature change, and it kind of messed up the paint. So we're getting ready to take a roller and roll it a little bit just to see if we can fix that. We'll probably have to put another coat of paint on there just to even it out, but if we can get it to smooth a little bit and not have those little dripping patterns in it, it won't be too bad.
Ready?
Ready as I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Wait,
Just
hold
from
on.
right there, you're good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? We've done much sketchier things.
That should not be the way that we measure whether something is a good idea or not. I've done plenty of dumber things than that before.
We've done more sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Did you measure right?
I don't know.
I don't think you did. There's
I
no
don't
way.
know. Hold on.
No
Just
way.
hold on.
I think you measured from the top point.
I don't know.
Oh, if you drop that.
It's too long.
It is.
Yep. Let's get the cutter. It's in there. Put
Yeah.
a battery on it.
Yeah. And
It's
just
it's
use
a pain in the it's not working the way it should, but it will take the. I can nib a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch off the top
Okay.
and make this fit.
I agree. Have you ever done anything ideally?
Yeah. Thank you.
I owe a lot of the success of this build to my wife's stubbornness. I offered to do the painting so that Jafana didn't have to climb all the way up there. I'm far from fearless, but I'm a lot more comfortable with heights than she is. She refused my help and insisted on doing it herself.
I don't like when I'm doing it, but it feels great when I do it. Like, I did it.
Well, this is a funky little angle right here. And so I made a template. Definitely too long.
So are we gonna trim around that?
I haven't figured this out yet, sweetie. I'll figure it. I'm thinking at the bottom I gotta take like a ½ inch off because we're gonna have some trim there.
Right, on the bottom.
That actually turned out pretty good. It'll fit on there. It'll fit around here. At the bottom it's 12 inches, so it matches up to our nailing pattern. At the top it's just gonna go out and utilize this 16 3/4 inches that's there. And it has to go all the way down to the bottom, which is 83.5 inches on this side, I believe. But I'll double check that.
I've known for a long time that this little corner was going to be a pain. In fact, I've dreaded it. But like most of the things we do around here, once we tuck into the task, it usually seems to go a little easier than I thought it was gonna. Usually. Harmonia axyridis, the Asian lady beetle. Asian lady beetles are a swarming pest this time of year. They're not native to the United States, but they're here to stay.
They're supposed to be beneficial, but right now they're not feeling it.
They were released by biologists and government scientists from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, starting in the 1960s, in an attempt to control pests, especially on pecans and apples. That's right, we did that to ourselves.
Now you can say it.
Nope. I already said it.
There's still a lot of this build left before we can call it done, but the vast majority of the really hard stuff is behind us. Along the way, there have been a lot of times when I wouldn't let myself think about the little things that involve decorating. But those are the things that Javanna has been thinking about the whole time. And now that it's here, she is geared up. I think she's more eager for the drywallers to finish than I am, because she wants to get inside the house, start painting and decorating.
Yes, you want it?
Well, I gotta say, it's dusty as all get out. I know it's not near as bad as the old abrasive saw blades that they used to use, but it's still a lot of dust. It does work well though, and it makes a really nice clean cut. This is the one we're using. I bought it at the big box store. It's a crescent 7.5 inch blade. I put it on my regular circular saw. It has the polycrystalline diamond teeth. From what I've read, they last a lot longer than carbide teeth. A lot of people complain that some of the Hardie blades that have the carbide teeth will lose the teeth halfway through the job. And two things. First off, when you're spinning that fast and a carbide tooth comes off, it's really dangerous. That'd be the first thing. And then the second one is this was no more money than the ones that had the carbide teeth. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Now the sun is starting to go away, but it is casting a nice light on the side of the house. And I like it.
That's without the batten.
And that's before we even get the battens up there. This is a board and batten finish. Now I know we've been working on the siding for easily a year. We started putting it up last year. Basically, we work on the siding when we have time, when we're between materials or the weather's just right. Right now they're finishing the drywall inside the house. And I said in last video that it was probably going to take them a couple of weeks. It's going to be more than a month from the way it's going, but we have lots of outside work that has to be done. We got the concrete poured for the pads for the HVAC. We're going to start putting in our mini splits so I can go ahead and anchor the outside portions of the mini splits and get those in. I can put the conduit that the line is going to run in, and as soon as they get the inside of it done, we'll paint those areas and start hanging some of those up, getting everything connected. Cross my fingers, that should go pretty easily. Yeah. We'll see.
Don't say that.
Let's get this one up.
The weather's been great this weekend, and I love this time of year. It might have something to do with the fact that I love being outside in the woods this time of year. Having the house start to come together when the weather is like this, the view is as pretty as it is. The growth cycle of the grass has slowed down a little bit, so I'm not so worried about getting everything cut. It's perfect for us. It gives us the opportunity, as we're putting the final touches on the house, to see what our life is going to be like up here.
Well, that's all we got time for this weekend. She's got to go back to work. I've got one more day to play. We've got the scaffolding set up already on the other side. I think that template we put together is going to do the trick for me. So, slight modification, but it'll pick up the same nail pattern that we're trying to get on this side.
But it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun this weekend. It was like perfect weather. I love fall. It's a great time.
Hit that subscribe button on your way out, and come on back and see us again at Break Heart Orchard. We'll be here.
Good night. Good night. Fall up here.
I ain't having fun.
Thank you.
Grumpy.
I'm not trying to be grumpy. I'm just so tired of blowing my nose. It's driving me completely nuts.
Grumpy.
Oh. In a bit.
I just got a splinter in my